welcome back to the Gemma and Rach Let's Chat podcast. And this week and going forward, you can now see our faces. So we are here, as always, to give you an episode digging into what the truth is behind some of the myths in weight loss. And the biggest one is maintenance and what maintenance may look like. So if you are interested in hearing the truth behind it and actually what long-term weight management looks like, you know the deal. Grab your headphones, link up the Bluetooth, grab a brew, and let's do it. So, Jan, this is nice being on camera.
It is nice. It's nice to see you.
It is lovely. I feel like it's going to help us not talking over each other as much as well.
I just thought exactly the same. And instead of me saying yes constantly, I can just nod.
Yeah, just nod. And I know that you're there. Yes. So this week we wanted to touch on kind of the myth behind maintenance, because I think for so many people, myself included, like before I started my weight loss journey, there's this idea that I do the diet, I follow the steps, I do what you tell me to do, I follow the steps, and then I dance off into maintenance and never will have an issue with my weight, emotional eating, or anything like that again. And I suppose we're here to say the really unfortunate truth that that isn't the case. Sorry to be the bearers of bad news, but I think it's difficult for people maybe to understand just how challenging maintenance can be, because I think a lot of the challenge in maintenance doesn't always come with big fluctuations in the scale. It actually can come in your mind, which is why we always say that working on your mindset during your weight loss is so key, because actually it builds that whole foundation up for how you'll manage in maintenance. And I know that you lost your weight a long time ago now. Did you find that managing your weight was all rainbows and unicorns? Is it something that you've just kind of skipped along the yellow brick road of being slim?
I wish, Rach. It's 11 years of like learning every day. You know, it's one of the hardest things. I'd say it's harder for me personally than it was to do plan. You know, I loved the like idea of like losing weight every week, having that buzz every week. It was really exciting, and you know, I had structure. It was convenient. Dare I say it, I found it relatively not easy, but very simple to follow. Maintenance is not simple, not easy. You know, it's not done for you. It's not prepared for you. You have to work hard at it. And, you know, learning to track calories, learning to navigate menus when I'm out, like that was all something that I didn't know how to do that at the beginning. I'd never learned how to do that. And, you know, the plan doesn't teach you that necessarily. You've got to work on that yourself, and you've got to, like our last episode, you know, you have to practice these new ways of thinking and new ways of living to get better at it. And it, you know, I'm so far from perfect. And I think a lot of people do say to me, you know, oh, you're lucky, you know, you've maintained, like you find it easy. Does it just happen natural now for you? I'm like, not really. It's not natural. It's definitely more like subconsciously. I think it is more natural for me to do it because I've done it so many times. Like we say, it's like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. Yeah. And I think I've got to that point now, 11 years on, that it does feel more normal for me. But that is, you know, we have 11 years, don't we? Yeah, like it's a long time.
That's a long time to be practicing something. And, you know, I think that you're right. Like, whenever you do the plan, it does kind of course correct some of the behaviors you may have had with food. I was similar to you. I very cautiously will say I found being on plan quite simple if I compare it to maintenance, because I had the products, I had you. There was no real thought or choice needed by me other than what product am I going to have today. And then once I started moving up the steps, that's when some of this thing aside the panic, but I definitely felt that really tight control that I had, and that, you know, those instant dopamine hits every week when you get on the scale and you've lost weight and you're kind of working towards something, that was really daunting. And I do find that a lot of my clients, when they're getting to the end of their weight loss journey, you see that like panic come over them, because you suddenly realize, okay, I've used this tool plan for something to help me, you know, lose weight, but also that was also itself be a bit of a control and a way to help me manage my emotions and things like that. But now I've got to reintroduce food again, and I don't trust myself with food. And the history is that this cycle repeats itself again and again, and I just yo. It's terrifying. Like, and it is so scary. And I think so many people get to that point, feel so scared to go through the steps, and then feel like they've failed or that they've done something wrong. And actually, that's normal because, like you say, it is scary. And maintenance is the bit that none of us have ever really done.
That's it. It is the hardest bit. And that's what I think we are most passionate about, because we knew how hard it was. So because we've learned it now, we can pass that knowledge on. I feel like it's always the light bulb moment for my clients that, when they get to step 3 or 4, they say, I've never done this before. Like, this is really exciting. But it is scary. I remember you were really scared, like, to move up to step 3. Me and Stacey had Pittagate. She was scared to eat a pitta. And I was like, it's fine. Calorie count it. And we still call it Pittagate now, because she was petrified to eat like food or carbs. And it was, I think steps 3 and 4 is that real nice light bulb moment where you're like, okay, I can do this and I can eat normal food, and then you still lose weight. I think that's like the turning point for people.
Yeah, 100%. I had one of my clients this week. She is an absolute darling, and I've worked with her for probably like 2.5 years. There hasn't been like a straight weight loss journey. She would not mind me saying this. Like, it's definitely had its, challenges, and there's been high points and low points, and lots of growing and learning about herself and her relationship with food emotionally, and how she can use and abuse food. And we've worked through all of that. And we're now at a place where she's like at her goal weight, which is just 30 inside the bar. But we've also done that process of going through the steps, and she really had to trust me because she didn't. Like, she was like, no, I'm really nervous. I'm worried that if I go to that event and have that meal, it's going to spiral to a binge, and then I'm not going to be able to get control of it again. And we work really closely together on how you put in place those strategies and processes and support to help you for those big events in that, that period after weight loss, because it's really important. And then, so she's had lots of things going on lately, and she had like an event the other week, had a little gain, as you'd expect. You go, you enjoy yourself, live your best life. Um, and her instinct was to restrict this week because she's got another event coming up. And I was like, no, no, no. Like, you stay on the calories that we've had you on. Still got a little way to go to get her exactly to her what she'll be maintaining on calorie wise. So if I was like, you stick to the 1,500 calories, you do not go lower. Weighed in this week, and she'd lost the little game. And she was like, my mind is genuinely blown because it's the first time in my life that I haven't felt the need to like crash diet or really heavily restrict before an event and after an event. And actually, my body's just done what it needs to do. And it's like, that is the steps. Like, that is reverse
Yeah.
dieting. That is getting your body up to higher calories. And then now that you've kind of had that loss, we know that after this event where you'll have a lovely time, we can continue just
Yeah.
upping the calories until we get you to maintenance. And there is it's a real trust the process part of your journey. And it's not just trust the process, it's trusting us. Like, you
Yeah.
have to trust when your consultant says to you, this is how many calories you need to have this week. But the brilliant thing about our plan, and why I loved it, and I'm sure you loved it for me, because God, you would have had your work out if it wasn't like this. But there's no weird and wonderful food rules. Like, when you get to a part of the plan with food, bar step 2, but everything else with food, you make it work for you. You just calorie count in. And so, like, for me, I'm not my Jella.
Me neither.
I won't cook it. But do you know what I loved? I love the fish cake and salad, and I love like the pre-prepared meals, and that saw me through. That gave me enough of an ease of a product, if you like. Like, I didn't have to think about this
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
But that first
Yeah.
kind of like 6 months into maintenance, and that's why I always say it's important that people do what works for them. Because if you're trying to, like, we've all had, I mean, I'm sure you've done many a plan or diet in your life where you basically, it's an algebra equation to make your breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah. Too much thought. I haven't got time to, and there's so many wonderful recipes out there, but I'm not a recipe gal. I just want to have quick. And I think that's probably, maybe I subconsciously influence you. I like the easy meals. I want just something that I can shove in the oven or the air fryer, and but you still want to have veg and stuff. So I get the packet of the microwave veg because they're already calorie counted. They're already done. Takes me 2 minutes in the microwave. I want my dinner within 10-15 minutes. I don't want to wait. And I
Yeah,
haven't got
same.
time to stand there and cook for an hour. So it's just, find food that you enjoy, and track it. And once you get a meal, like I say this to people all the time on my fitness pal, once you've got your favorite breakfast or your favorite lunch, or your favorite dinner, save it on there, or whatever tracking app you're using, save it as a meal, and you don't have to then do it every time, because I think people get into that, oh, this takes ages, trying to track these calories, it's taking me too long. Make it easy for yourself. Save all your favorites, and then that's what I do. I
I
eat pretty
mean,
much the same thing
I
most
made it
days.
I made it really easy for myself. I just ate anything with a barcode on it, and that worked incredibly well
Yeah.
for me. Literally scanned,
Yeah.
but it's what works. It's you've got to find what works for you, and
Yeah.
you need to park all of the narrative and the diet rhetoric that you've carried with you your whole life, and actually start focusing on how do I eat in a way that protects my weight loss that I can sustain long term. I think
Hmm.
so often we're fed all of this, like, this is not healthy, this is not healthy, this is not healthy. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not trying to be Mr. Olympia over here. I'm trying to maintain a 12 stone weight loss. Like,
Hmm.
if we look comparatively, me
Hmm.
having more like processed or convenient food is a hell of a lot healthier for me than me being
Yeah.
22 stone. Like, and I think that's
Yes.
where you have to get your head right, and also know that how you do the steps and how you eat in that period, and like how you eat the first 6 months into maintenance, not going to be forever. Because I know
Hmm.
you've had a real like kind of journey with, like, I feel like with food and with how you eat over the last 2 years, that you've tried loads of different
Mm.
things.
I've tried everything. I've tried so many different things to see what works for me. And I've kind of settled on that. I do kind of have the same sort of things Monday to Friday, just because I find it so easy with how busy the job is and how busy my life is. Monday to Friday, the routine is just what it is. It's Groundhog Day. I'm so busy. I just want quick, nutritious food that's going to keep me full, and I don't have to think about it. But
Mm.
that's come with time. But everybody that follows me knows that I love a Prosecco and I love a pizza and a roast dinner. I love eating and drinking. I really enjoy it. But I don't want to ever restrict when I'm out, because I feel like that's my time to really let my hair down and enjoy life. And for me, that's what life is about. We work hard, play hard, or whatever the saying is. That's me basically. And I want
Yeah.
to be able to, when I'm at home, do what I need to do to then allow me to go and enjoy those times. And that is, I feel like I've really settled into that now over the last sort of few years, and it's working. But again, I needed to trial it for it to see if it would work. And that's not to say I might not change in the future, because again, on social media, you're fed all of this different advice. There's too much advice coming from all over the place. You should eat whole foods, you should be vegan, you shouldn't eat processed, you should eat. And I just think like you've just said, you've got to make it work for you. Eat the foods you enjoy. But I do that. I mean, we've talked about this before. My maintenance calories are about 1,800. So I stick to 1,500 Monday to Friday to allow me to have around 2,500 on a Saturday and a Sunday. The top question then comes with, do you still count at the weekends? In all honesty, no, not really, not anymore. But I roughly know if I'm going out for dinner, I'm going to be fairly sensible in the day, and I might have like my vanilla latte in the morning,
The
like I
rennet.
always do. Have that in the morning, and then maybe like a nice healthy big salad for lunch, because I want to eat foods that are going to fill me up, so I want to eat bulk. And I think you
Yeah.
can have a whole bag of salad or a whole bag of veg for what, 30, 40 calories. Then I top it with all the protein and maybe some cheese or whatever I want to add to it. But it's a massive meal for relatively low calories. So I'll do that before I go out, and then I'll go out and eat what I want, basically. But again, saying that, eating what I want isn't the same as what it used to be. I don't
Yes.
have to have 3 courses. I don't have to have the chips and the garlic bread and the lasagna and the burger and the pudding. Do you know what I mean? Because I know how that makes me feel afterwards. So I
That's
would
it.
rather, again, try and pick healthy
You don't feel good.
ish.
And like I'm the same, like how I eat out, and we've covered this in other episodes. Look, if you are losing
Yeah.
weight, any amount, you have got to fundamentally change how you are with food, because if you don't,
Hmm.
you will be that weight again and get bigger and bigger and what have you. So, like, you do have to make changes, but it doesn't have to be the changes that I think we think you have to make. You don't have to go out and always have a salad. Like, now don't get me wrong, I'm a sucker for a Caesar salad. I love a Caesar salad, but you don't have to go out and eat things like that. For me, I
And
am
they're
such
high
a
in calories.
they are
Caesar
high in
salad,
calories.
they're
Like,
really high.
all right, let me have my moment of virtue.
Just have the burger rate.
Oh, I know. But it's, I will, I've got such a sweet tooth. I always say I'm such an Oompa Loompa. So if I go out for food, I will very rarely have like the chips with a meal, right? If I go out somewhere, I'll just have like whatever the main is and the veg. Not because I'm virtue signaling or trying to be an angel. It's because there's about 450 calories in those chips. There's about 450 calories in that dessert that I want. So I would just not have the chips and have the dessert. Like it's like things like that that mean that you still have what you want, but you are more balanced. And actually, you think, well, I wasn't going to enjoy having them anyway, so why have them? And then I won't be able to really enjoy the dessert because I'll feel
No.
full. And yeah, I think it's definitely finding that balance that works for you, whether that is like you love cooking and spending your evenings like cooking lovely meals for the family, or whether that is convenience. I think we just all need to let go of all of these rules that we're told, because if you've been around for the last 20 years of the diet industry, or longer than that, you'll see that everything comes in cycles. There's always something that's on trend, something that's fashionable, something that we should all be doing. Should all eat avocado because Carol Vorderman eats it. That's why she's got a lovely bum. You should all eat Special K because that's how everyone's staying skinny. Like it's just rubbish. Like you just need to find what works for you. And like you and me, we both stick to pretty much the same repertoire of meals, like because that's what works for us. And then you can, like you say, have a bit more of a relax at the weekend. But I definitely think that the first steps into like step 3, 4, 5 and beyond are really intimidating. And that's where it's really important that you have that support of somebody, because we've all lost weight before, but like I said, none of us really have done maintenance. That is
Mm.
the new bit. And I think that's when I leaned on you more than ever, was through that maintenance, the steps program, sorry, and then the next 3 years of
Hmm.
basically.
Yeah, we
When
still
I was,
text each other all the time, don't we? But again, we're always learning. I learn from you, you learn from me, I learn from other people. It is what it is. You've just got to be willing to accept that actually it's not a clear. You can't just do the steps and then maintain. Like you have to actually change the way you live, and that's kind of what we're passing on. And you made that big point. It's all in the trust. You've got to trust your consultant. The amount
Mhm.
of times I say on a daily basis, trust me, trust the process, trust the plan. And they're like, oh, I can't because it's never worked for me before. I'm like, yeah, but you've never done it before. You've never done it. This time has to be different. And it is, yeah, I talk about that all day, every day.
You know what though? I think a lot of the time it's not even that people don't trust the plan or trust the process. I don't think they trust themselves. Like
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was I was definitely in that camp where I was like, no, I know the plan works. I trust everything about the plan, but I just
Mm,
don't trust how I interact with food. But then that really comes back to how important it is when you're on plan and you're in your weight loss phase, that you are working on those things to work through your mindset, emotional eating, your self-belief, your self-confidence. All of those things are needed to go through
hmm
that steps program successfully. If you just have the products and don't really do anything else, you don't really have calls with your consultant, you don't really work through any stress or troubles or anything like that, you're not building the foundations that are needed to help you long term with how you mentally are with
hmm
food and that mental relationship. Like it's hard for a lot of us to kind of start plan and have that moment of acceptance of, I got a problem with food. Like I've got an issue with food. Honestly, I think people would
hmm
rather say I've got issues with like drugs or alcohol than with food. There's such a
mm,
shame and taboo about it.
I know.
But actually, unless you do, you can't work through what you need to work through. So that as we're going through that next like leap of faith, going through the steps, you could have built up that self-belief and the tools that you're going to need to help you be able to engage with food in a way that doesn't become destructive and that you can keep control over. Like you can keep the
Mm,
guardrails in place with it. And it's like, it's so hard. Like you're forever learning. And I've had, like, even in maintenance, I've had loads of times where my head's gone and I've been like wobbling
yeah.
and not knowing what's going on. And
Yeah, me
kind of to,
too.
and kind of to what you said earlier as well, like the um kind of not getting on the scale, not having that um like boost of dopamine every week. Like I definitely
Mm,
went through a period of time where I thought I needed to lose more weight. And it wasn't because I felt like I was unhappy in where I was. It wasn't that I didn't like how I felt or looked or anything like that. It was just this weird compulsion in me to be like, yeah, but what if I could get into that next zone bracket? Like, and
mm,
I was chasing the kind of high that you get when you're on
yeah.
that weight loss part in your journey. It was really hard for me to
Mm,
make that leap from weight loss into weight
mm.
management.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I say to
I
people,
remember that stage with you as well. I remember we were like, but the buzz of being able to maintain for 4 weeks, let's maintain this month, let's maintain next month. And like, that's still a buzz. That's an exciting thing to achieve because it's something you've never done before. So it's trying to make that into a positive as well, and not, you don't need to continue to lose weight. And I did the same as you. I was chasing that number when I first, again, that's the diet cycle. You know, I was obsessed with what I weighed back then, and I'm not anymore. And again, that's all come with time. Yeah, are you there? It
oh
froze.
yeah, it's just so really
It's like,
laggy. Oh, sorry.
yeah, it
Say
does
that.
every now and then. That's all right.
That's all right. Say that bit again, and I will edit. I might keep this
Okay.
in just so you can all see
I
the
think you should.
realities of this.
You never know. It might not be laggy when it's on it because a lot of yours was laggy. So maybe let's just hope that at the end it will all be all
Oh
right.
God.
Once it's buffed. Trial and error.
Oh, jeez. Right, let's go. Sorry, what were
Carry
you
on.
saying? What were
I
you
can't remember what
saying
I was
just
saying
about?
now.
That's fine. I was
I
gonna
don't know.
say that, I always find it funny when people are getting near to their goal weight, right? Because I feel like getting to your goal weight is actually one of the most underwhelming things you can experience. And
Yes,
I
it
say
is.
this as somebody who literally got to her goal weight, and the day she got to her goal weight, went on a stage, collected an award, and had cannons fired everywhere and had burning K. Like I still didn't feel like that was like big enough almost for just what
Mm,
a big thing I have been through. And so I think that's as well why going into maintenance can be difficult, because our idea of what getting to that goal weight may be like, we built it as such a big thing in our head, and then when you get there it's a bit of an anticlimax. And I think that's quite difficult for some people to like accept and process. But this is why, I'll say the truth is that there is no end point. The goalposts are there the day you start the plan. When you made that decision, you went over that goal line, and getting to your goal weight. I mean, I'll celebrate it till the cows come home with one of my clients, like we all will. But that isn't an end. Like there's a now, it's just the turning of a page to a new chapter to go through that weight management. And our job as consultants is to help you with that and help continue to be that like person to speak to and get support from. But it's also to recognize whenever maybe those things are coming in where you go, you're like you're stuck in
mm,
weight loss mode. We've not transitioned into weight management. You're still, maybe talking about losing a bit of weight or doing this or doing that, or you've been really buzzing with where you are, but then, and you've lost a good amount of weight, you're looking great, you're feeling great, but then suddenly you become unhappy with where you are. And I find so often that is just, it's our minds trying to pull us back into what we know. We don't know this over here, but we know dieting and weight loss at the back of our hands. So let's go back to this safe place. And it's
mm.
like, no, you need to push through to
Yeah.
get out the other end. And it can take a long time. I think genuinely it took me, it's about 6 months ago, like 2.5 years to get to a
Yeah, but
place where it's like,
even like next year, you might say, "God, I've learned even more." Do you know what I mean? I think we're always changing, and like you said, I've changed the way I eat so many times because you just life changes. Do you know what I mean? Times change, everything changes. So I don't think there's ever a point where it's got to, a perfect ending that you know how to maintain. And also things can change. Life throws massive curveballs at us all the time. And if your
mhm.
mental health suffers, weight tends to suffer as well, and you can't really ever control that. So you just have to learn to still put in place those strategies that you've learned. And obviously, me and you have talked about loads of different things that we do now to help us, but I still have to do it a lot. There's
Oh,
still times where I'm stood crying in front of the kids' snack cupboard and I want to eat, but I have to think, no, I'm going to have my pint of water, my pint of tea, go and have a bath, put a face mask on, have a cry, and then I'm all right. But that's my little way of coping.
that's it. Like you have to have those, but they
Yeah.
can't come in at the end. You can't start trying to use that whenever you're in the midst of being faced with having food. Going
Yeah.
back on just products, that is never an option. So get that
Never.
out of your head.
Yeah.
So you have to have taken the time to work with yourself, your consultant, everything to get that toolkit put together. And if there's not a golden bullet, there's not one thing that's going to help in managing your weight long term. Like you say, you've got mental health, as women, our hormones, perimenopause, menopause, so many things, life stresses, work changes that will happen. So it isn't about finding how can I eat that's going to mean I can always maintain my weight. Actually, what you eat is very little to do with it, as we say often, because that will change. It's about how do I better manage my emotions and my stress so that food doesn't become the default that I want to go to. And if I have those cravings, I have got key strategies in place to help. And yeah, I think the message of today is that maintenance and weight management, as I much prefer to call it, I feel like saying maintenance just makes it sound like it's a breeze, and actually it takes away from how much effort it takes to maintain weight loss. Especially after like years of dieting or years of struggling with it. So, weight management is totally possible, but it is not possible, I don't think, on your own. You need to have support. You need a rational voice, a logical voice there to help, and you need to make sure that in your weight loss journey, you're doing what needs to be done to address the actual reasons why you use food. Otherwise, you literally will loop back round, and you'll have, it will you'll come off the plan. You won't want to do the steps because they're scary, but you'll decide, I'll just go and eat like I was before anyway, and then the weight will come back on, and we'll just keep on looking at it fast. But if you want
in the diet cycle,
in that cycle, but if you want to break free of that, which is what we want you to do, then you need to work with us in the beginning portions, and then very closely in the depth portions, and continue to long beyond, because weight is a lifelong thing that we're all just trying to manage a little bit better. I think that is a lovely way to wrap up this episode. God knows how it's going to be. I mean, I could watch this back now, it'd be like it's anything, but guess what, guys? You're getting it, because we haven't come this far to only come this far. Like, we're trying, constantly learning, constantly trying new things. We want these to be good for you. So this is the first time that we've tried it. Hopefully it will be at least listenable, if not watchable. But we, as always, will be back next week with another episode. If there's anything you would like us to cover, there is a Q&A box on this episode on Spotify, or you can leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube. Please make sure to subscribe, like, follow, turn on your notifications. Honestly, all of your support genuinely makes all of these IT issues worth it. So please do. And we will see you again next week. But for now, it's goodbye from me.
And bye from me.
And we will see you all really soon.